I'm Dave, and this is Davey McCool's Workshop. This is my 1978 Corvette. I've had this car since high school, 40 some years now. I've had it since I was just a lad. It's got about 32,000 miles on it. It's powered by a small block Chevrolet 350. It has a turbo 350 transmission in it. It's rated only about 220 horsepower. There's really nothing special about it. That's the way they were back in the day. My boy has taken a big interest in this car, which is part of the reason I've hung on to it for all of these years. It was rotten last summer and we kind of rebuilt it. We put new tires on it. The other tires were completely rotten. Put new rotors on it, rebuilt the calipers, put new shoes on it, all four corners. The exhaust was completely rotten. It looked like Swiss cheese, so we bent some pipe up, put new exhaust on it, put new mufflers on it, tuned it up. This does not have a full convertible top. They stopped making those in 1975, if I remember correctly. This has what's called a T-top. The reason they call it a T-top, because these panels pop out. There's a crossbar right here that goes in a center vein right here, which is a T, hence the name T-top. These are not factory tops. This is an aftermarket top that they had available back in the day for a very short while. The original stock tops, which I do have, came two ways. They came with a see-through smoked glass kind of a thing, and they also came with a regular, the shape was the same, but it was just all fiberglass. You couldn't see through it. This particular car I have both tops for. These are the ones I prefer. They look better in my opinion, and they also fold in half, and you can stand them upright, get some luggage in the back too. Okay, as far as utility goes, this thing does not have a trunk on it. It's got a small storage area in the back here. It's designed to put the T-tops in there. They fit nicely, but once the T-tops are in there, you're kind of screwed for putting anything else behind there. And when the T-tops are not in there, you've got just a little space. You've got more space than you would a Ferrari or a Lamborghini, but you just don't have much space. Here's where you put the fuel in. Has this gas door right here. That's a semi-automatic power antenna, meaning that it is a power antenna, but there's a toggle switch in there that you've got to move one way or the other. One way makes it go up, the other way makes it go down. 1978 was the 25th year for the Corvette being in production. 78s are the only cars that have this particular emblem on them. 77 they just had cross flags. 76 they just had cross flags. So 78, you'll know a 78 because of that emblem right there. It has a 25th anniversary emblem in it.
The car has hidden headlights. To operate the headlights, pull on the headlight switch, pop right up. Car has to be running because it works on a vacuum. To bring the headlights back down again, just push in on the lever and you're good to go.
Here's the ignition switch. Here's that funky old Pioneer radio. These are the headlights, windshield wipers, power window switches, cigarette lighter, temperature gauge, fuel gauge, clock, oil pressure, battery, tachometer, speedometer. All right, let's take her for a ride. You had this lowered, right? Yeah, I cut one coil spring out of it. These things sit high in the front end. They don't they don't even sit level, they sit kind of high in the front end, so I cut one wrap out of the front end, kind of level it out. Maybe it sits a little at a little break, but it sits better than it used to. Hear that rattle? Been driving me nuts for 40 years.
Oh yeah.
Someday that'll be your rattle.
Yeah, it's super low to the ground. You gotta walk it over everything, otherwise it'll take off the chin. But
Yeah, there's a front spoiler on there that wants to drag on everything. And bad thing about it now is this thing is so old that you can't get. It's just getting to a point where it's getting hard to get parts for this thing now. I don't know how many front spoilers I've been through, but it's been a couple, 2 or 3, and just because you clobber them in parking lots and pulling up to those tire stop deals in grocery stores and things like that, and then you knock that chin off, that front spoiler, and you can't get them anymore. So it's just old enough now. When we did the springs or did the brakes, I put new emergency brakes on it as well, and I had a hell of a time getting emergency brake springs for it. Finally found some in Florida that took 2 weeks to get. I paid way too much money for them, but if you need them, you need them, and I needed them. But for what it is, it runs pretty good. With those new brakes on there, it stops pretty good.
for the money, you're really going to have a hard time finding a better car. This is an amazing, amazing summer car. Not a daily driver, obviously, but...
Oh, it could be. I mean, it could be a daily driver. The thing that it wouldn't be dependability that got you in trouble. It'd be the fact that it's just too small.
Oh yeah.
You know, you just get tired of. I get tired of driving something that's really small like this, and
yeah, it is. That's a great thing to note. He's 6'3", I'm 6. I fit into it better than him, obviously, but it's still a bit tight.
Our yellow Labrador hates it. He just hates this car with a passion.
0 to 60 time is probably 6 or 7 seconds.
Yep, 6.6 is what it was from the factory, thereabouts. So, I mean, you've got 4-cylinder cars now that'll do that in half the time that this did.
Yeah, its bark is a lot worse than its bite, but it sure sounds cool.
And it's fun to drive.
It's fun to drive.
It's still fun to drive. You're not gonna win any races in it.
It's a cruiser.
It's a cruiser, and for me, I've had it all this time. I mean, I know it like the back of my hand. This is what I've pretty much cut my teeth on. I've made a lot of mistakes on this car that I haven't made on others. It's been a great teaching tool. And the car has always presented itself well. I've painted the car. When I originally bought this car, it was yellow, and just did not like that color, not from day one. And I saw a picture of a black one in a magazine once, and I just dreamt about that black on this. So I learned how to paint, and this is pretty much what I learned how to paint on. And I'll tell you, first time I painted it and color sanded it and polished it, it was just gorgeous. And the second time it was really nice, but I didn't take the time that I did the first time around. And this is the second paint job that's still on it. It's been on there for 30 whatever years, and it still shines, still prevents well. But now things have come along, and with urethane paints. This is done in acrylic enamel, and I know they still make it. I don't know if anybody uses it anymore, but yeah, paints just like cars have come a real long way. But this still shines. It's still, you know, we could throw a polishing wheel on top of it, probably make it look just about as good as it did the second time I painted it. And that's probably what we'll do once the weather gets a little warmer. It's pretty chilly out now. But yeah, it was originally yellow, and I painted it black. I've had it in several car shows. It's you know, it's been around. It's got some history. It's got some history with our family anyway.
Yeah, it's super fun.
And it still attracts. It always has attracted attention, and it still attracts attention.
Yeah, it's a pretty car. It looks super exotic.
I mean, it's as exotic as an old Corvette can
Yeah.
look. You know, it's you know, as an old. We used to call these long nose Corvettes. I don't know if they still do or not, but that's what they used to call them.
Yeah, it's probably a medium level difficulty to drive because you really gotta baby it. You have to really walk it over speed bumps. That front end is way longer than a normal car.
You can only see over about half of the hood.
Yeah.
And then the other half, the front half, it just disappears. You can't see. So it's these things. Yeah, I mean, it'd be real easy to get hooked up underneath somebody else's front bumper if you were too close, and it takes a while, but you get the feel of these things, and you kind of finesse them into spot, as I guess is after a while you get used to driving them, and you know, you're okay. But it isn't anything like the new stuff, like where you have front end cameras,
Yeah.
and rear end cameras, and beepers that tell you you're too close to something, or you can, you know, it just isn't like the new stuff. The new stuff is really slick. This old stuff is not so much. Still fun though.
It is.
Still
It's
fun.
very fun. It's very fun.
Well, that's what it's like to drive a 78 Corvette.
Yep. I hope you guys enjoyed.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you for watching. We're working on a 57 Chevrolet that's going to be a really nice car, so stay tuned for that. It's a good car. I'm pretty pleased with the way that's turning out so far, so thank you for watching.
Yep. Make sure you like and subscribe. Stay tuned for more.
Oh yeah, this is our first time doing this, so
Yeah.
so don't be fooled by the professionalism.
That's right.
Because it's just going to get better. See ya. Yeah, hey, and when it comes to road rage and stuff like that, take the high road. That's the one less traveled. See ya.